shoot. No, I did.
No,
I
you
did. Then I realized I hadn't plugged it in yet.
So you put it down.
Shut it down.
That's fine. That's all right. We'll use the free Audacity that we normally do because it's free.
It's free.
Hey, it's free for you and cheap for them.
No, it's just free, actually.
But is it worth it?
Well, it's a lot. Out the gate.
Because you're worth it, Thoriel. Thoriel.
I can't follow anything that you're doing.
Are you hungry?
We ate.
Yeah, I know we ate.
No, I'm not hungry.
Yep. All right. Toot toot. Toot toot.
Okay.
Beep beep. We're up. We're good.
Are we
We're live.
Okay.
We're live. My phone went off. We're live.
Okay.
All right. So we're good. We're watching you guys. If you want to chat with us, then go on ahead because we're live right now.
It's true.
I mean, I assume you're watching this live. Otherwise, Wednesdays 8 o'clock we go live to right here, Media Boat Podcast. Not .com, but the YouTube domain, Media Boat Podcast. All right, so we got quite a bit to get through. A couple of reviews, a couple stuff.
Got some stuff.
We'll go live. Live chat is up, and let's get recording.
All right, let's get a roll on, because it's the Media Boat Podcast.
What?
Hey, it's September. It's September the 19th.
19th.
2018. This is the Media Boat Podcast. This is episode 141.
Yeah, that's right.
141. It is Wednesday, so we are live on YouTube.com. If you're watching right now, our channel on YouTube, MediaBoatPodcast.com. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We are live every Wednesday night, and it's Wednesday. So let's get the show rolling. The Media Boat Podcast is your source for news about movies, television, video games, and music, along with our thoughts about those things as well.
We have some thoughts for you this week.
We do.
Today.
We have
tonight.
some things to talk about tonight. Yeah. My name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt. We've got a lot of stuff to get through. A lot of, we got 2 TV shows to review and 2 music soundtracks to review.
A lot of TV, a lot of music.
But before we get to all that, we got to start with movies.
We always start with movies, and we always start movies with the box office numbers. We begin here with a new number 1 that we predicted easily.
Yep.
The number 1 movie this week is The Predator, making a $24.6 million debut, which is kind of low.
We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Elsewhere in your top 5 this week, The Nun sticks around, dropping to number 2 at $18 million. A Simple Favor is your number 3 movie with $16 million. That was a debut this week.
Yes, that was a debut. These were all debuts except for
The Nun was
The Nun.
number 1 last week.
Yeah.
White Boy Rick, number 4 with $8.8 million. And also returning to the top 5 at number 5, Crazy Rich Asians with another $8 million, adding to its $150 million total.
Yay!
It's doing well. Congratulations to Crazy Rich Asians and The Predator for your number 1 movie there.
Yep.
Coming this Friday.
What do we got this week? Anything
good? We have 3 movies, varying in hype, I guess.
Varying in hype.
The first one is Fahrenheit 11/9.
Oh, yes. Documentary hype.
Correct, yes. Is this Michael Moore?
This is Michael Moore.
Okay. Is this kind of like a spiritual sequel, I guess, to Fahrenheit 9/11?
Yes.
Okay. And
11/9.
what's significant about the date 11/9? Trump?
Yes, it's reversed for Trump.
Okay. I was listening to a podcast. This is relevant, believe me. I was listening to a podcast where they're talking about, I guess, there was some sort of appearance. Well, first of all, did you know that Roseanne had a talk show in the 90s?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Well, she did. And apparently there was one time where she had Donald Trump and Michael Moore on as guests on the same episode. Same episode.
Yeah.
Weird foretelling the future. And Trump says something about how he enjoyed one of his documentaries, and then he goes, "I just hope he doesn't make one about me someday." And then they have this awkward laugh, the three of them together, and I was just like, "That's funny."
Because now.
But yeah, so what specifically is this about?
The fall of the Republican and the Republic and democracy and Michael Moore.
Okay. All right. So you don't know?
No.
You're telling me?
It's
okay.
Michael Moore being Michael Moore. Yelling at people.
Know.
It's a Michael Moore documentary.
It's what you think it is.
Yeah.
Also this week, The House with a Clock in Its Walls. That's the Jack Black weird
this is
fantasy kids thing.
Yes, this is the Jack Black I'm living in a spooky house that's haunted. That is not Goosebumps.
But it sure looks like it's Goosebumps.
It does look like it's Goosebumps.
That thing looks like Goosebumps. Well, so that's the thing, if you want to see that. Then lastly, we have Life Itself. We have Life Itself, parentheses, 2018. This is not to be confused with the documentary about Roger Ebert.
No.
Or the book about Roger Ebert. No, this is just a movie called Life Itself. Can you talk about what this is?
This is a new film by... No, not a new film. This is one of those artsy films.
Okay. One of those.
Yes, I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm not going to say anything about it. I just know that's what the release stuff.
All right. Well, I saw a trailer for it. It didn't really tell me much.
Oh, no, the trailers tell you nothing about it either.
Yeah, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on then. Those are your new releases, so that means I throw it to you. Did you see any movies this week?
Oh, I did.
You did?
Not.
Oh.
I'm still in a movie hiatus because clearly nothing good has come out.
Also, video games came out and kind of took over our time.
Yeah, they did.
Along with TV. TV's coming back.
TV's coming back.
Starting basically this week.
I know. We're going to get to TV later. But first, we do have some box office milestones to get to in the quick section of, I guess we're going to call this the bits.
I guess, but what
all
that
right,
means
box
is
office
that we're
bits.
going into...
Box office bits.
Well, what that means is we're going into movie news now. We are done with that. So let's move into movie news. Our first bit is a little bit of box office trivia. The Predator may have opened at number 1, but guess what it is setting records for?
Not being number 1. Or not, at least not the best records, it could say.
Definitely not. No, it is setting the record for the worst live-action film opening for a major release of 4,000 or more theaters. A record previously held by The Mummy, which only opened to $31 million.
Right, that was Tom Cruise's The Mummy.
And I remember when we were talking about that being a bomb. Was this a bigger bomb?
Technically, this makes it a bigger bomb.
The biggest bomb.
Yes.
Well, for live action, I guess. Setting records, or at least making waves this week, is the Meg. You know, Mega Sharks, they're huge, they make waves.
Yes.
And
tell me about Digital Jaws.
And Hotel Transylvania 3 both crossed the $500 million worldwide.
Okay, worldwide.
That's worldwide, definitely not domestic. Neither of them made that much money. But worldwide, both of them crossed the 500 line today.
So label the Meg as a hit,
I guess,
and
yes.
Hotel Transylvania 3 as a hit.
That is a franchise with legs.
It is.
It's their new Ice Age. You know how Ice Age inexplicably made money every time?
Yeah.
This is like that.
Well, it's Adam Sandler comedy.
Yeah. I guess it works.
I mean, you don't show Adam Sandler, so I guess that's the bonus you get.
He doesn't have the Adam Sandler stigma while still having Adam Sandler.
Right. But as I did note when I did my review of it, or my thoughts on it, it's a good family-friendly movie. I enjoyed it.
Yes, I remember you said you liked it. Good for those two. Also, Mission Impossible Fallout is now the highest grossing domestic release this year, with $216 million. Topping the 2000 release of... Oh, sorry, not this year.
Not this year. That's of all the Mission Impossible franchises.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, 216 is low for this year.
Sorry.
Avengers made that in its opening weekend.
That's not how this is written. That's not how this is written at all. Okay, so yes, Mission Impossible Fallout is the highest grossing domestic release of its franchise.
Yes.
With $216 million, topping the 2000 release of Mission Impossible 2, which had the previous record of $215 for the franchise. So best performing Mission Impossible yet. I think they'll make another one of those. Just throwing that out.
I don't know. They kind of wrapped up this set of trilogies.
They'll make another
I know they'll make another one. As long as Tom Cruise will do his own stunts,
Right.
they'll make another one. As long as, yeah.
It also, this week, crossed the $760 million line worldwide.
Congratulations. That is money in the bank.
Yes. All right, let's move out of box office and talk about giant theaters.
Okay, so how big are we talking about here?
I'm talking about, like a big screen theater. I'm talking about bigger. I'm talking about a huge screen theater.
Like panoramic?
I'm talking about large format theaters.
Like 70 millimeter print formats?
I'm talking about IMAX.
All right, let's talk about Limax.
I'm sorry, IMAX.
Yes, IMAX.
IMAX CEO.
IMAX,
Of IMAX.
UMAX, WeMax.
All right, IMAX CEO Richard Gelfond says he's in active discussions with every streaming service out there about potential IMAX releases. He says, quote, "We may be looking at more than just a Netflix IMAX partnership, but a team-up between the large screen exhibitor and every streaming device out there." Gelfand called out the fact that many of the streaming services' original films are lacking an opening day, as we discussed last week, and implied that IMAX was the best way to cut through the clutter of the entertainment marketplace, saying the number one to event size, the size of a movie, is in IMAX. So, both Netflix and Amazon are flirting with the idea of buying their own theaters, meanwhile, as a way to cut out the middleman and distribute original films to audiences in a theatrical environment. Is this where these two things meet together?
Yes, this is where streaming goes for a same weekend opening in hopes of getting some box office money.
This is what we were talking about last week, with
Yes.
Netflix trying to get their foot in the door with award season.
Right.
Basically, we want to play with big leagues, but in order to do so, we need to release things theatrically the same time we stream them.
Right, but theaters won't do it theatrically
Yes.
because of limited runs that they have or limited number of
The
screens.
chains won't. But if if IMAX waves a bunch of money in front of the theater companies' faces,
And
they can't say no.
right, plus stuff in IMAX is usually limited showings per week anyway because something new comes along
Which is all
to kick
Netflix-
it out away.
Which is all these streaming guys want.
Right, they just want
a
one
big blurb,
the 1 or 2 weeks and that's
then
it.
go see it on Netflix at home.
Right.
Like, that's their strategy. So this is actually really smart because it's great publicity for both.
Is it?
I think so. How do you think this goes wrong?
Was the last time something meant for television was on a big screen of IMAX?
Something meant for television? Never. As far as I know.
Oh, there was an event
Okay.
of marvelous proportions.
Oh,
You could
right.
say it was inhuman of them to do such a thing.
Yeah, you're right. But that thing sucked. The reason why that failed was not because it was on IMAX. The reason why that failed was because word of mouth got out that it was bad.
Yes, I'm talking about the Inhumans, by the way,
Yes.
for those who don't know. The Inhumans, which had half a season for ABC, and premiered its first 2 episodes on IMAX.
Right. Also, that's different because that's trying to Trojan horse a television series into your homes by making you go to the theaters and see it. This is different. What they're talking about here is theatrical, a film, a feature film being released, which is a very different game at that point. Also, if their marketing team is working, you will believe that that's worth seeing, unlike the human stuff, which I had to be told existed because there was no marketing behind it. So yeah, it's a different
I told
thing.
you about it.
Yes, I know. You're not marketing.
I was your marketing.
You are not a marketing
It was
team.
marketed towards me to tell people like you about it.
Unless Marvel paid you money to market it. You are not a marketing tool.
You would know if Marvel paid me.
I would know, yes. And they don't. So here we are. I think this is a win-win.
But Marvel, if you want to change that, hit us up at meetbopodcast.com.
Yes. But no, I think this is a win-win because I feel like IMAX has also been looking for like some big budget deals. You don't hear that often a unique about a unique IMAX experience. Usually IMAX is like, oh, well, this movie has a few scenes that were shot in IMAX, or oh, Christopher Nolan's putting out something, you know it's going to be in IMAX.
Right.
It's rare that you have what we had in the 90s, which was, oh,
an IMAX experience.
here is a thing that's only on IMAX, and you have to go to an IMAX theater to see it. That doesn't happen anymore.
The last time something was that big, I'd have to say the start of Avatar. Like I said, Christopher Nolan,
Yeah.
Dunkirk was that big.
Yeah.
Gravity 2010, Alfonso Cuarón was that
Dunkirk
big.
was the last one.
Yeah, Dunkirk was the
Again,
last one.
It's Christopher Nolan. He does it every time. It's
Yeah.
an expected thing. And then,
Right.
yeah, Gravity, similar kind of way. Alfonso Cuarón, it's like this is a big-name director. He's known
Auteurs.
For being an auteur. He's known for caring about the kind of screen his movie's on. That's different. What I'm talking about is, here's a movie you can only see in IMAX. That doesn't happen.
Right.
So, I think it's a win-win. I think it's a marketing miracle for both of them.
I think that both the companies are in the right spot for it to work. I just hope that they use it correctly and don't put out like an Adam Sandler film in IMAX, but instead use it for something like Roma.
It is
that's going to be coming out.
There is a question of content for sure,
Right.
because something that's made for Netflix is not necessarily produced with a big screen in mind.
The Kissing Booth, for instance.
Unless this happens before something is in production, then it would be.
Right.
But so it's a matter of how quickly they get this in operation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. I guess we'll follow up when we hear more about this story, and we'll let you know.
Hi, dudes.
Hi, dude. Whoever you may be.
It's the doctor.
Oh, here.
It's K-Love.
Okay, love. All right. Let's move on to a different story.
Okay.
Let's talk about Space Jam.
All right. I love Space Jam.
Yes.
Next.
One of your favorite? No. That's not the end of the story.
Oh, okay.
There's stuff to talk about involving Space
All
Jam.
right. I love
You know me.
yes.
I would not like to talk about Space Jam.
Right.
But here we are. Guess what? Remember we talked about a Space Jam 2 involving LeBron James?
LeBron James.
Well, it continues being real, and it's going to actually happen. Ryan Coogler, of all people, is teaming with LeBron to produce the Space Jam movie. And Terrence Nance, who created HBO's Random Acts of Flyness and directed the experimental film The Oversimplification of Her Beauty, will be the director.
I think those things should be switched. But Ryan Coogler is probably too big of a name to put behind it.
Probably, yeah. Production on the Warner Brothers film is tentatively slated for 2019 during the NBA offseason because LeBron is, of course, still an active player in the NBA.
Yes, but he is also currently of the Los Angeles Lakers, which means he doesn't. Just a little bit. He may be in town for a bit before he goes on vacation somewhere with his family.
Alongside all these announcements, a teaser image came out. Did you see this?
I looked at the teaser image.
Okay, what's the teaser?
It's a locker room of a locker, one for Bugs Bunny, one for LeBron James, one for Ryan Coogler, and one for the producer the director.
Terrence Nance.
Yeah, one for Terrence Nance.
That's clever. It's
yes. It had their lockers. It had like gym shorts in there, basketball, some other paraphernalia in it.
Paraphernalia in there?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. It just said come, and then at the bottom just said coming soon.
Okay. Well, it says everything you need to know, I suppose.
Yep. It's as soon as you see B Bunny, you're like, okay, Bugs Bunny, LeBron James.
That's Space Jam.
That's Space Jam.
That's Space Jam for sure.
That's Space Jam 2.
All right. Our last
LeBron,
story here.
L.A. Braun.
Yep, L.A. Braun.
So, yeah.
Last story does not involve LeBron.
Well, before we get to that, I just really like for the Looney Tunes to come in and get Michael Jordan, but instead they try and grab Michael B. Jordan.
So confusing these days.
I know.
That's really funny.
And look, what's that exact line? It's just so confusing.
Yeah. It's just so confusing.
Because you can't have a Ryan Coogler project without Michael B. Jordan.
No, it's true. All right. Let's move on.
All right.
Our last story in film is a little bit of a sad one. We don't know where one of the most famous actresses in China is. That actress, of course, is Fan Bingbing.
For those of you in America, you will know her from X-Men, playing Blink in Days of Future Past.
Yes.
And she was also in
something more recently.
She was.
Yeah.
It was the Meg.
No, she's also.
Oh, no, that was her sister. Her sister was in the Meg.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
No. Oh, no. She had a brief cameo in Iron Man.
Oh.
Iron Man 3, for the Chinese scenes only.
Oh.
She was in that.
Anyways, well, she's been missing. We don't
What
know
do
where
you mean
Fan
missing?
Bingbing is. She's been missing for more than 3 months and has dropped out of public view. Her disappearance has been met with some concern among fans and fears that politics in Beijing may have been involved. Her disappearance may be related to a government investigation into tax evasion in the film business, but has not been officially charged with any crime by the Chinese government. The accusations came in late May with a video posted about one of her film contracts being paid differently in order to report one and not the other. The video concludes with a warning that if the violations are found, they will be handled in strict accordance with the law. She was last seen in Cannes in May to promote the upcoming spy thriller with Jessica Chastain, Marion Cotillard, Penelope Cruz, and Lupita Nyong'o.
That is
I remember us reporting
on that. Yes, that's what I was trying to find. But
yeah.
That's the that's the American Revolution
right.
women's spy film from across the world.
Yeah, so she was supposed to be in this, and nobody knows where she is.
Yes. Social media cannot find her. Her last post was in late May for an ad, and nothing since.
I mean, it sounds like if this...
and also, the film you're thinking of is one of the Transformers.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, because there was a deal with, like, China and stuff. I think it was Age of Extinction she was supposed to be in.
Okay, well, anyways, if this assumption about the Chinese government situation sounds pretty probably correct, and if that's the case, she's just trying to avoid being potentially arrested by her home country, which is understandable.
Yeah.
So if that's what's going on, well, we hope you're in a safe place, fan. And we wish her good luck, and we hope somebody finds her.
Yeah, it's so the contract in dispute is that she was reportedly paid $1.7 million for the role.
Yeah.
But there was a second contract reportedly for $7.8 million that was not reported for the Chinese government for taxes.
Yeesh.
And that's what they're doing. Also, in a side note, they're also investigating one of the directors, one of the highlighted main directors in China, for tax evasion as well.
Oh boy. Okay.
So this may be something that we'll get back to.
Probably. We'll probably hear more about that when it happens. Let's move on to... That's it for movies, so let's move on to television.
Yeah, we're done with movies.
Which always starts with sports.
All right, Sports Quarter.
Sports Quarter with Mike. We have one big story here, but I bet there's more. The big story, of course, is NFL related. What happened this week in football?
We had another tie. We had another tie in the NFL.
Okay.
This is the I say another because this is the second week in a row, week 2 of 2, that there's been a tie in the NFL.
Wow.
Rarely does two ties ever happen.
Ties are rare, yes, because the game is essential. The scoring in the game is designed for ties not to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was the not Giants. Big G in my head. So I think Giants. No, this is Green Bay versus Minnesota. Green Bay versus Minnesota each ended up with a tie. Last week it was the Browns versus the Steelers who ended in a tie. And this upcoming week it's probably going to be some other teams that end in a tie. Because that's just how things go nowadays.
Yep.
Other than that, I got nothing in terms of sports, really.
Slow sports week.
Yeah, it's pretty slow. People were still using this whole week to talk about the Serena thing.
Yes.
We already
talked about
We talked about that last week. Other than that, nothing really big in terms of sports that I can think of.
All right.
I was trying to think of something, but nothing comes to mind.
That works for me. Let's move on.
NASCAR's happening, so check that out. But football. So football season is football.
All right. Well, in that case, let's move on to television news proper. And, of course...
Yeah. Lastly, Le'Veon Bell is still holding out. So if those of you Le'Veon Bell owners out there, find a different running back, probably.
All right. Okay. Let's move on to television news proper. Then.
Yes. The big story of the week.
And yes, our television news, of course, we have to start with the obvious one. The Emmys happened.
On Monday?
Emmys, the big coming out party for television, the big award for television. This year, it was dominated by streaming and HBO. HBO and Netflix tied for 23 awards each.
Yes, this is the first time in like 10 or 12 years that HBO was not the award winner.
Right.
The go-getter.
But just barely.
Well, they tied.
In this case, yeah.
So technically they didn't lose either.
Yeah, just barely. But among your winners, Barry on HBO won for first for Henry Winkler as supporting actor in a comedy, and Bill Hader won lead actor in a comedy.
funny enough, each of them, their first award wins.
Each their first Emmys after being nominated a few times for Henry Winkler, and I don't believe Bill Hader had ever been up.
I think he got one nomination.
Okay.
And that was his last one for his last season on SNL.
Got it, okay.
But I don't think he won because that was... I want to say that was Jim Parsons for some reason.
Probably. But no other show dominated as much as Marvelous Miss Maisel over at Amazon. Amazon had a big night with that show. It won Best Comedy, won Best Actress, Supporting Actress, won the Writing Award as well as the Directing Award, all for the comedy categories. Big night for Amazon.
Yep. That's big. Those are 5 big wins for that show.
In case you don't know, that would be the Amy Sherman Palladino led show, she of Gilmore Girls fame. This is her current show on Amazon. There is no current release date for a season 2, but they did just wrap production.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say by the end of the year, we'll hear something about season 2 of Marvelous Miss Maisel, especially with all the Emmy hype.
Oh, look out for the Emmy commercial saying, 5-time Emmy winner. What makes it so special? You'll have to tune in and find out.
In case you're wondering about the limited series or theatrical, or I guess television movie, or whatever the hell they call the weird category about stuff that's not a series.
Yes.
But that was, of course, dominated by 2 things. First of all, that episode of Black Mirror, that Star Trek.
Yes.
You know, USS Callister. It won writing and television movie awards. And, of course, the assassination of Gianni Versace
Yep.
won big. Best limited series, best actor, and directing for a limited series.
Yep. Versace won, just like I called it.
Yep.
Darren Criss won his award for acting. Congratulations. Put that one on your mantle next to nothing.
Yep.
And then, it wins again for best series. Called it.
So, yeah, those are your biggest Emmy winners.
Yes. Last week, Tonight with John Oliver won for a 3rd straight week in a row.
Year.
3rd year.
You said week, but that's pretty funny, but no.
Yes, because it's last week.
Yes, 3rd week.
3rd straight year for late night talk show.
Michael Che and Colin Jost hosted, but it wasn't really... It was boring.
Yeah.
There weren't that many memorable gags. They had Maya Rudolph and Fred Armisen on probably too many times to do a bit that wasn't really that great.
Right. They also did something really weird with the nominations.
Yeah.
So they read all the nominations and then brought out the presenter instead of the other way around.
Which I guess it was in consideration of time, because I have to note something about this award show. It moved at such a ridiculously quick clip. It was whiplash-inducing at sometimes, where I was just like, whoa, we're already to the next... Holy crap, where were we? What? We're doing like 5 awards in between commercial breaks? What is happening? And it still took 2 hours, 30 minutes to get through it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You cannot do an award show in 2 hours. I don't know how the Oscars think they're going to do it.
No, they're not going to. This is why they're cutting stuff, because they have to.
It's just insane. You can't quickly.
It's either you cut out the little gag bits in between, or you just cut out awards.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do, but
you're
watching this one.
You get rid of a true host and said just do a voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in the box.
You could just do that.
I mean, there's nothing that says you can't just do that.
So yeah, overall it was a weird, awkward year for the Emmys. Oh, we didn't even mention Game of Thrones taking Best Drama.
Yeah, speaking of awkward and weird.
Because it seemed like such an afterthought.
Yeah.
Because, Peter Dinklage won in the night. So
he won for supporting.
2 awards, technically.
It actually won more in the technical.
But this wasn't the technical.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, it was just one of those weird feeling nights where everything felt like it came out of nowhere. And nothing really made sense. And a year where they were praising diversity, it kind of did suck for the whitest shows in both categories to win. Like, I was just like, come on, man. But I don't know. Anyways, so that was the Emmys. I don't know how I felt about them this year. They seemed like kind of nothing.
Yeah, it seemed very bland. It didn't seem like the spectacle it could have, should have been. But that's the Emmys, I guess.
It's just a
what are you gonna do?
white list.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Disney.
Hey, they make me nice and happy.
They weren't at the Emmys, but they are cooking up an MCU something for a streaming service. The streaming service being Disney's future streaming service.
Yeah, so they're going to try and get people to come to their streaming service, and we talked a little bit about what they have to entail. But, one of their biggest properties is, of course, Marvel. And how do you get people to come if you don't show off some Marvel stuff?
So, none of this will come to a surprise if you know anything about what Disney's been doing.
I am surprised.
No, not really.
No, not.
They're already talking about an MCU something coming to the service, including characters such as Loki, Scarlet Witch, and others. The actors portraying the heroes are expected to reprise their roles and not be recast. Is this a firm no recasting rule?
This is a firm no recasting.
For the
MCU. This is, you guys are in our universe. We probably may not have used you as much as we said we were going to. So, in lieu of that, and in order to keep you on our contracts, we're going to make TV shows out of you.
Yeah.
Roughly 6 to 8 episodes per character.
Let me pitch a show.
Okay, pitch a show.
I pitch what I want to see.
All right.
I want to see a Scarlet Witch and Vision sitcom. With them learning how to love each other, even though they're so different. That's what I want. Did you watch that?
Yes, although you wouldn't make that a comedy.
Yeah, it would be.
Well, yeah,
hilarious.
you kind of would, yeah.
They're like, it's like two fish out of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great.
You slowly see Vision transform from the robot to the Paul Bettany right before, and then the season ends right where they're in the hotel room in Infinity War.
Yep.
It just ends right there. Like, let's go here.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna end badly for both of them because that's when Infinity War picks up. But it's that time in between Civil War and Infinity War. That's just them.
Make this happen, Kevin Feige.
But then you have to get Paul Bettany to sign on too.
Yeah. Well, they said no recast.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
the way you go around that is you do Scarlet Witch and her brother as a kid, and how Hydra does experimentations on them.
Okay.
So you're recasting, but you're casting a young person.
Semantics.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's how they get around it.
So, shows just like this fake one that we came up with will have 6 to 8 episode orders for their streaming service. Kevin Feige, speaking of him, he's expected to take a hands-on role in their development as well. So the real Marvel people are involved in this thing. They're really taking it seriously. Alongside the Marvel step, is also a couple of other things that we already know are in development, including Jon Favreau's Star Wars series we already talked about, and also a series based on, get this, High School Musical.
Right, we talked about that.
Isn't that just Glee?
Yeah, it's technically just Glee.
Yeah, I'm giving that a hard
but
time.
yeah,
I don't think it's actually going to be just Glee, but interesting nonetheless. A series approach to High School Musical might be okay.
Yeah, I mean, so you get those kids who loved High School Musical who now have kids.
Too old to watch High School Musical now?
But probably are now starting to have their own kids.
Yeah, who knows? Oh, God. No, not yet, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You're 10 years out of high school.
Let's move on!
If they had a kid in high school, that's 10 years right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully they didn't have a kid in high school, or else they'd be on MTV's
Teen Mom.
Or
or a year or two. That's like 10 8-year-olds then.
All right. Let's move on.
Ageism.
Ages, math is weird. Not even once. All right, let's talk about Saturday Night Live.
Yes, let's.
Because it's almost time. The season premiere is slated for the 29th, and we now know who our host and musical guest is.
Yes, thanks to the Emmys.
It will be hosted by Adam Driver, and the musical guest will be none other than Kanye West.
What?
I guess he's already on his recovery tour here, trying to get his public image put back together.
Well, we'll talk about Kanye in the music section.
Yes, we will. And so, yeah, that would be on September 29th. If you're wondering about casting.
I am always wondering about their casting.
Well, we had already reported that Luke Knoll will not be returning after his first and only season.
Right.
However, everybody else will.
Ooh.
Additionally, Mikey Day, Melissa Villasenor, and Alex Moffat are being promoted to featured.
Well, from featured.
Sorry, from featured to regular cast.
Yes, they have been on the show for 2 years, and that's the time they get to bump up.
So that means the other two, Chris Redd and Heidi Gardner, will return as featured players.
Yes, because
No additional
both of them are on
names
1
have
year.
been announced.
Right, both of them are on 1 year.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll actually do more people.
That's the question. Is that I was trying to wonder if they were going to replace Luke Null's spot, but as of right now, and we're pretty close to the premiere, there's no one moving into there. So
As of right now, the answer is no.
maybe we're
but
just dropping a number. I don't know.
but you'll never know. They can always promote one of the writers quickly up into an front of camera role.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not technically cemented in stone yet.
Yeah, I guess not. But I mean, generally speaking, I think that's the smart moves. I think Mike Day is strong enough where he definitely should be regular.
Yeah.
Melissa Villaseñor, I don't know. I would probably give her another year.
I don't know. I'm happy that she's back.
I am happy that she's sticking around. I definitely want her on the show.
Yes.
I just don't know whether she was quite as ready as
other people.
As Mikey Day was.
Well, Mikey Day
was
does
their breakout.
Well, he does the Trump stuff.
Yeah. He was their breakout.
Yeah, him and Alice Moffat both do
They
both do the Don Jr. and Eric.
And don't get me wrong, I love Melissa Villaseñor. I think she's great.
Yes.
But I think Heidi Gardner is kind of better, and I'm glad she's still on the show. But yeah, definitely keep an eye out on her, because I think this will hopefully be her breakout season 2.
Probably.
Yeah, she's doing some great stuff on that thing. So yeah, the 29th, check it out when that happens. We'll know more about the future episodes soon. All right, let's move on to an internet story this week. The internet was causing some rifts on
the
Sesame
streets.
Street.
On the streets.
Yes, on the street, specifically Sesame Street. A former writer made waves. This guy, Mark Saltzman, when he said in an interview that he wrote the relationship between Bert and Ernie based on his own relationship with the late editor Arnold Glassman. He said, quote, "I don't think I'd know how else to write them, but as a loving couple. That's what I had in my life. How could it not permeate?" Well, this got a lot of people on the internet talking about basically
the fire was reignited in Are Bert and Ernie a gay couple?
Yeah, the internet were basically saying, "Oh, well, this all but confirms it. Like, they definitely are a couple. They were written as a couple. That's the end." Well, Sesame Workshop, the company that runs the show, went very quickly onto their social media platform and said that no, Bert and Ernie are, quote, best friends. And they teach preschoolers that people can be good friends with those who are very different from themselves. Although they possess many human traits, they remain puppets and do not have a sexual orientation.
I think that's supposed to be Muppets. They specifically classify them as Muppets and not puppets.
Yeah, you're right. But yes, they were very clear to say that Muppets do not have sexual orientation, which I thought was hilarious to write in a sentence.
It is.
To which people on the internet very quickly were like, "But wait a minute, isn't Miss
Piggy's
whole shtick is that she falls in love with every male actor?"
Yeah.
Like, they obviously do.
Also, her name is Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
That's denoting gender. Well, you know gender.
They said that they identify the characters as male, so they were saying that gender.
They denote
exists,
gender, but not sexuality.
but they're just all asexuals.
Right.
That's basically what I'm reading here, is that Muppets are asexual.
A Muppet loves everyone.
Yeah, Muppet
because everyone loves Muppets.
Muppet loves whatever Muppet loves, man. Yeah. But yeah, in case you were wondering, Bert and Ernie have been a mainstay on Sesame Street for over 25 years, but it looks like there are no current plans to actually portray them as a gay couple. So I'd say it's probably fair to use your own headcanon here. If you think that they're portrayed that way, yeah, because they kind of are.
Well, I mean, they're written that way because of the writer.
Or at least one of those writers.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of writers on Sesame Street. It's probably important to mention this. The show's been on for 50 years.
Yeah.
A lot of people have written Bert and Ernie, not just this one person. So even though this is one person's perspective, that may not be the case for all the writers on the show. But I think it's fair to say, yeah, they probably are. But Sesame Street does not want to, I guess,
make a stance.
Make a stance, or they just don't want to delve into storylines that are bigger than the Muppets, or than Sesame Street can handle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish that they would just embrace it. I mean, I think it would say something about
it's
portraying
because
to such a young audience that this is a normal thing. It normalizes it.
Well, it's because Bert and Ernie, when they're written as a concept, was Laurel and Hardy. the yin and the yang, the big and the small.
Well, and the Odd Couple.
The Odd Couple.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
That's the entire bit.
Yeah. I was getting there.
Yeah. It's a very, but yes, you're right. It's a very common comedy form.
Right. It's easy to write.
The two roommates who are very different from each other is a very easy thing, but that's existed in lots of different forms. But yeah, anyways, we're talking too much about this. All you need to know is that the company is said that they're not, but everybody knows that they are.
but they're not. Officially, they are not.
Yeah. Well,
what? People can live together as roommates and not be sexually orientated with each other?
I mean, yeah, that's true. But those guys, they are.
Rubber duckies?
They are. Yeah, you've seen Ernie in the tub. You know what's
I've seen way too much Ernie in the tub.
Yep, with his rubber ducky.
Yep, with his
All right.
Yes, rubber duckies.
Rubber duckies. All right, let's move on. That's it for television news. So that brings us into thoughts, and we have some thoughts.
Oh, I have some thoughts.
You have some thoughts? Okay, we watched 2 brand new Netflix seasons.
Yes.
First up, you watched the 2nd season of American Vandal.
Yes, this is American Vandal, season 2, and everything went to shit.
Literally.
Last
one was about dicks. This one's about shit.
Yes, season 2 is about number 2.
Yes,
the turd bandit? Turd emoji? Poop emoji?
Yes.
I don't know. I watched the whole thing. I still don't remember what it was.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, you were half paying attention.
Yes, I was half paying. Yes. Anyways.
So tell me about the half understanding that you got for American Vandal 2. Do you think this was better or worse than the first season? Because I remember you did not quite enjoy. You were mixed, I believe.
I was mixed to where I understood the humor they were going for, but that humor was not for me because it was potty humor. Well, guess what? Talking about shits, they tumble down.
Yeah, for sure.
They move it from California up to Seattle. Yeah. I think it's a nice change of pace. They move it from public school to prep school, so a nice change of pace. But they also change it from graffiti of dicks to the giant shitstorm, quite literally, as diarrhea ensues in the public school. And who pulled said prank. But then some central pranks for it in total.
Subsequential.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Is that not what I said?
Sure. All right. Anyways, so here's I guess kind of a clarification question because you didn't really answer my question.
No.
Clarification question. So I remember when we talked about a year ago, American Vandal Part 1 or Season 1. I remember your whole problem with it was specifically you said that you had a problem with the tone of it. You were like, they want this to be a comedy, but at the same time, they play the documentary stuff so straight.
Yeah.
And that was your main problem with it. You were saying that it's confusing tonally because you're like, you want to get involved in the story that they're telling because it's well produced. The actual documentary, quote unquote, work they're doing is convincing enough where you get involved and you want to know. But then you said you caught yourself every once in a while getting thrown off by when they would put a joke in there because you'd be like, well, wait, it would take you out of that experience and be like, this is a comedy. It seems like this is still doing that.
This actually reversed it to where it's a lot more potty humor and dick jokes. It still does follow the same tropes of we're going to make as much potty humor in this thing as we can.
Yeah.
And then pull it back to keep the mystery going. Because this thing is a mystery.
Yeah.
Unlike the first one where it was, did he do it or did he not do it? This is a mystery of who's done it in terms of compiling these four.
It seems like there are a lot more people involved that could be the cause. And they're trying to weed them out by process of elimination.
Right. They slowly conform to maybe it's not just one person who did all this, but multiple people. And also it goes into who, not who, but what we are on terms of like social media, in terms of it got real meta at the very end.
Which I want to talk about because I think it was interesting that they went that way. Yeah. Because the other thing I remember about our conversation that we had about season 1 is I did make a comment about...
What are they trying to say?
I think one of the things that they're trying to do here is, man, it sucks to be a teenager in high school in the modern age of social media. And they go hard on that angle this year.
Oh, yeah, definitely go hard into that.
It's very, like, pretty much the final episode ends with kind of that being the summary, is this sucks. You basically have to live these two parallel lives in high school now. And it sucks because high schoolers take advantage of that. So now everything about you is on display and accessible, and high schoolers are still terrible douchebags about it. And so it just doubles the severity of everything now. And it is scary.
Everyone in high school is terrible to someone at some point because you don't really understand your actions or the future consequences that you don't actually foresee.
Right. And now consequences are immediate.
Yes. They're immediate, they're fast, and they affect you literally the next day or the next hour,
it's one of those things that makes me feel kind of old, even though I know I'm not that old in the grand scheme of things, is that how much that's changed even since I was in high school. When I was in high school, we were barely getting Facebooks. But Facebook was not what Facebook is now.
Right.
And so it's interesting to see how everything is just so accessible and portable because everybody has cell phones now in their pocket.
Well, because we graduated high school right as smartphones were becoming the thing. 2007,
smartphones
2008.
Were barely an idea. People had Palm Pilots and stuff.
No, 2007 was using, iPhone.
We were still. I thought that was
That was 2007.
That was around the same time. So it was only a handful of people could afford that at the high school. So it was people rocking the Motorola Razors and still T90 at that time.
Yeah, for us.
Yeah. So it's just such a weird difference. I thought it was interesting as kind of a commentary on that. But I think that you were right about the first season as much as you were right about this time. That thing is so tonally all over the place.
Yeah.
I just don't know how it's supposed to be read. I know it's branded as a comedy.
It's branded as a comedy.
I feel like they don't want it to be.
Everything's supposed to be taken as a joke. They throw as much humor in it as possible, but because the format that it's basing itself on is such a serious format and tone that it's hard for me to take it as a comedy. I think maybe if I watched it with someone who had who laughed at all the jokes they were making, I'd probably see it more as a comedy. But watching it by myself and not having that, it's hard for me to laugh at it when it's such a serious tone that they presented in. At times it's too serious for its own good, and that's the point.
Right.
And there are parts that I generally chuckle and laugh and understand where they're going. But it's so over the top.
It is.
That
it plays itself so seriously. Yeah. It's just so ridiculous. But I think it's safe to say that if people like that first season, they'll probably like this.
Yeah, if you enjoyed the first season of American Idol, you'll definitely enjoy the second season. It doubled down to everything that you want.
But still not for you.
It's still good, but still not for me.
Yeah, it's fair. I'm surprised you even watched it, frankly. I thought you were going to just tap out.
Oh, no. I mean, people said it's good. People like it. So I was trying to see if it's one of those things where maybe I should get the first season, but let's try a second season.
Well, maybe not.
Well, maybe not.
However, there was something else on Netflix this week.
Yes. Something animated.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right.
Prepare yourself.
Season 5 of BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
As the internet calls it, the Sad Horse Show.
The Sad Horsey Show.
So, So BoJack always manages to be two very distinct things every season I've watched of it. It's two very distinct things. One, it is one of maybe, I'd say one of the, but this year, at least before The Good Place premieres in a week, is currently probably, I would say, the best written comedy on television right now. I think what they're doing with the joke writing and the structure of this show is so incredibly above what most, especially animated, comedies are operating on in 2018, that it's insane. Every episode of this show, even in its 5th season, is still hilarious with amazing references, just great setups, amazing puns. I don't know what these writers are smoking, but I want some. It's so consistently good. This season was even more consistent last season. I don't know if you remember me talking about season 4, but it was kind of lopsided. It had some really great great moments in it, but I felt like the side characters were kind of wasted. And that it had a good emotional heart to it ultimately as the season ended, but I felt like there was something to be desired. This season, not at all like that. It's 100% consistent. Every single episode is better than the last. It is amazingly well constructed. I think that this may be maybe my second favorite season of the show.
Really?
I think it really had a really good first 2 seasons, but season 5 is stellar. It's them, the writers, like, operating full cylinders, just going. And it's because we've spent enough time with these characters where we know them and know them really, really well, and we love them, and we're really attached to them. So I think that makes it work even better than it did. It kind of reminds me of peak, like when The Simpsons was at its peak. Like, they have so much creative power that they can do new creative things with it and not alienate their audience. And they do creative things this season. Of course, the show's always done that. If you recall, there was an episode that was completely silent. They've done episodes where it was like a complete, like a news show. They've done episodes where it was an episode of a television show inside a television show. Well, in this one, they do an entire episode that is just BoJack monologuing. So it's basically just Will Arnett talking at you for 20 minutes. They do one that is a combination of the television show that he is in as well as in real life, where he's confused about which is which, and you are also confused about which is which.
Right.
Which is amazing. It's like they're still operating on this, like, we want to surprise and switch up the show every single episode, and they do it. So that's one part of it. The other part of the show is it still remains an absolutely ridiculously depressing emotional roller coaster. It always has been. It still is. And I'm just amazed with every season they seem to top, like, how dark and how ridiculous they can make it. But also, like, make you feel like, no, this actually made, like, a really salient point about this, as opposed to just existing to be like, oh, well, this is about a sad character. In fact, for the first time ever, the show itself is commenting on the fact that it is a show supposedly endorsing the behavior of a sad and awful character. So we've kind of had this conversation about Rick and Morty. We've had this conversation about other shows like Showtime's Dexter. We've had this conversation, and society as a whole, about media has had this conversation in the last few years especially, about television shows that basically show a flawed man and make them the star of it, and then portray them in a way where they're still likable, but also terrible. And the effect that has on a lot of people is people, especially men, especially young men, internalize that and be like, oh, well, he's fine, and he does all this messed up shit. I can do this messed up shit too. And there was some people, especially after the last season of BoJack, on the internet basically saying, isn't this just one of those, just animated? They were basically saying, oh, well, this is just Jon Hamm's character in Mad Men. It's just like, we know he's messed up. Like, we know BoJack has all these issues, but everybody still ends up being fine with him. And we move on. Like, this season, they actually comment about it. Because it centers around him being, like, in a show where he's basically that stereotype of a character. And yeah, they have the character Diane basically straight up make a speech about, no, we keep putting these these characters on television knowing that and basically the lesson of this is just to say, yeah, they do bad stuff, but they're still good. And she's saying, no, that's not right. Like, why are we putting this on television? And so it's really meta, and the way that show reverses it is that they do actually have him change. I don't want to spoil how they do it, but in the very, very last episode of this season, he kind of makes a breakthrough and does something he needed to do for a very long time. And that's something you don't see on those prestige shows. Like, actual moving forward with your character. And that's one of the things that this show is really, really good at. It's good at being both hilarious and some of the best writing on television. And it's also really good at being like, no, we're not going to fall into these traps that these other prestige shows do. We're going to actually say, no, this is how you get help. This is what it means to help. This is what it means when you actually have these issues, and here's how to deal with them in really smart ways. It's just really, really good this year. I don't know how else what else to say about it. It was just like one of the best. I mean, so far the best TV show I've seen all year. But like I said, Good Place is new in a week, so we'll come back. to that conversation. But yeah, I'm very sincere in that you're missing out with the seasons you haven't watched.
I told you, like, those first 2 seasons, I couldn't get into it. I tried to watch the first half of season 1. It wasn't for me.
It's so good,
and then the second half of season 2,
There are jokes, though, that I feel like are written for you. Like, one of my favorite things about it is that it's written from the perspective of people who work in Hollywood. Right. So there's a lot of inside baseball going on. And so there's a lot of, like, constant references to television shows, actors, actresses, just, like, above the line, below the line, just, like, very production lingo, like, what it means to be on a show. There's an episode this season where a character goes to a foreign country, and they do a shot in a foreign country, a shoot on a show in a foreign country, and they talk about that. It's just fantastic stuff, like, that you would totally think was hilarious. But I guess it's the other half that puts you off.
I think it's the human-animal hybrid thing that puts me off.
They do some great stuff with that stuff. But yeah.
I don't know. Like, I've given it several tries. Yeah. It just doesn't grasp me.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to talk about too much because I don't want to give away too much about it.
But clearly you like it.
But there's a lot going on.
And if you like BoJack, you like it.
Oh, well, yeah, easily. Like I said, it's one of the best seasons that they've done so far. But yeah, it's emotionally exhausting. I don't recommend watching it all in one sitting because you will, I don't know, something will happen to you.
You'll turn into this.
Try to spread it out.
This will happen to you.
I did it in 3 sittings this time, unlike the last season, so.
Well, you were forced to do it in 3 sittings. Yeah. You could have done it in 2. You're going to do it in 2.
I could have, but I wanted to actually sleep. But yeah, so yeah, I recommend it if you like that stuff. I think it's the best animated show on Netflix, period. I think it may be the best animated show that's not directed for kids right now. Because obviously, you know, I love Steven Universe.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say period. But yeah, it's definitely some of the best adult animation going on right now. So if you're not watching it yet, go catch up. It's all on Netflix. And yeah. Let's move on.
Okay, you done?
Yeah, done.
All right. Yeah, I just doesn't. I mean,
okay.
The parts that I've seen, I've liked.
Yeah.
But just sitting through the whole episode, I just don't do it. I don't know.
It goes.
Like, because everything sounds like something I should watch and would love. It's just something that just doesn't grasp me for some reason.
I don't know. All right, well, that's it for television. Let's move into cancellations and renewals.
All right, let's talk about some cancellations and renewals.
All right, well, first up, we have a show on PBS.
Yes.
That's weird, right?
Yes, it is weird. We'll talk about them.
Poldark. What is Poldark?
I don't know.
Well, whatever the hell it is, its 5th season will be its final.
It's a 5th season?
Yes, its 5th season
Ooh.
will be its last. It will have its finale at the end of its 5th season
upcoming,
on PBS.
Yeah, upcoming 5th season.
Also getting renewed, getting renewed is Insatiable on Netflix. Ugh, for some stupid reason, getting a 2nd season. Yeah, that's not great. Also getting
really?
Yeah, Insatiable is basically a show that's about that doesn't do a very good job of portraying an obese woman. It's not great. I don't want to talk about it. Don't watch it.
Okay.
Moving on. Amazon Prime is renewing Absentia for a 2nd season. That is.
Sounds sci-fi.
OWN over the Oprah Network.
Yes.
Greenleaf is getting a 4th season.
Don't know what that is. That's OWN.
It's just all sorts of stuff. One thing I have heard of, though, is Snowfall on FX, which will be
we have heard of that
season. And one of our favorites, MasterChef on Fox, will get a 10th season, season 10.
Speaking of MasterChef, tonight is the season finale
of
MasterChef.
Check that out. That's it for cancellations and renewals. Let's move into deaths. We have 2 this week. Age 84, Arthur Mitchell, who was the founder of the Dance Theater of Harlem. And we also have age 85, Dudley Sutton, who was an actor, starred in Lovejoy and The Pink Panther Strikes Again.
Yep, well, we missed.
All right, let's move out of television now and into music.
Okay, we have a couple albums to review, but first, we have the Billboard.
Did
it change?
Not really. Well, I'll get there.
All right.
Your Hot 100 is your singles list, and topping the Hot 100 again this week is, of course, Drake, In My Feelings, or what the hell, In Your Feelings, whatever the hell that song is called. Number 2, Girls Like You by Maroon 5. Number 3, I Like It by Cardi B. Number 4, Better Now by Post Malone. Number 5, Lucid Dreams by Juice WRLD. Hasn't changed in a week. Next up, though, is your Billboard 200, your album chart, which has changed.
Ooh.
Your number 1 album.
Is it
debuting this week?
Eminem?
Nope. Debuting this week.
Paul McCartney?
Yes, Egypt Station by Paul McCartney is your number 1 album this week. Number 2, Kamikaze by Eminem, moving down a spot.
Okay.
Number 3, Look Up Child by Lauren Daigle. Number 4, Zoo by Russ. And sticking around in the top 5, number 5, Scorpion by Drake.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Our weekly dose of Drake. Coming up this week in music releases, we have Beak with Greater Than.
I was wondering how you were going to do that.
Yeah. We have Billy Gibbons with The Big Bad Blues. Carl Bromo with Wished Out. Christine and the Queens with Chris. Joe Bonamassa with Redemption. Josh Groban. Guess that Josh Groban.
Yep, that's Josh Groban.
Bridges. Joyce Manor with $1 Million to Kill Me. Liars with Titles with The Word Fountain. Metric with Art of Doubt. Mutual Benefit with Thunder Follows the Light. Ryan Hemsworth with Elsewhere.
Yes, that's a Hemsworth.
Not that Hemsworth. Slash with Living the Dream. Suede with The Blue Hour. Super Suckers with Suck It. Makes sense. Villagers, The Art of Pretending to Swim. And Voivod with The Wake.
The Wake.
Voivod.
Yep.
Voivod.
All right.
Weird name.
So let's talk about someone who is weird, though.
Let's
in
talk
real
about
life.
the continuing weirdness of this year, of Kanye West in the year 2018.
All right. So we said we're going to talk about Kanye West as he's hosting
Yeah.
SNL. This is why we're talking about Kanye West hosting SNL.
Well, this wasn't announced alongside the SNL announcement. It was announced later via Kanye's Twitter feed. He has somewhat announced a new album, we think, which will be called Yandhi. Think
Gandhi.
Jesus plus Gandhi.
Right.
Get Yandhi. And it will be, according to this post, released on 9/29/18, the day of his SNL appearance. The art that he showed for this is a mini disc with a clear package with a piece of tape on it, which looks exactly like his album Yeezus, which was released in 2013. So does this mean that he's going to do what he did with Life of Pablo and drop this at the end of his musical performance?
Probably.
Probably.
I assume that's what he's going to do.
I'll never assume that Kanye is going to do the same thing twice. That's the only thing weird about this.
Well, think about it. Kanye drops it at 11:59, which is usually when they perform.
Right.
Or usually when they end the performance.
Yeah, but it just seems like, again, I just don't think he would do the same thing twice.
Yeah, but he has 24 hours on that day to release it. Or, say he's going to postpone it.
But yeah, I don't know. That's weird. But let's, but yeah, so, on top of that, in case you're wondering what else is going on with Kanye,
What else is going on with Kanye?
he says he's reconfirmed the thing he's been confirming for a while, that he has a collab album with Chance the Rapper coming. But now we know, or at least we think, it's going to be titled Good Ass Job. This is a relevant title in Kanye lore, if you know anything about the rapper, because Good Ass Job was the original working title of what eventually became My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be the follow-up to Graduation. Because after you graduate,
You
get a good-ass job. That's the joke. But yes, Chance has all but confirmed this, so it seems like they're both on the same page with this. Also in Kanye news, he has moved back to Chicago, quote, for good, unquote. So,
Oh, I wonder if
So there you
Kim's
go.
okay with that.
she's got to be, I guess. And for the long haul, right? So yeah, there's your Kanye news. In other rap news, we have stuff about Childish Gambino.
You mean Don Glover?
Yes, I mean Donald Glover, actor, producer, writer,
Emmy winner.
Yes, multiple Emmy winner at this point. Kind of got shafted this year,
Yep.
but had his year last year. Childish Gambino, of course, being his rap persona, well, maybe not for too much longer. Apparently, he's calling it quits. As Childish Gambino, he is currently on what he calls his last tour ever. He told attendees at Madison Square Garden when he was there for his tour. His tour is all about saying his goodbyes and giving his fans closure in an up-close and personal point of view. He had hinted at stepping away since May. In addition to Atlanta, the television show, he also has the live-action Lion King movie to look forward to. As you recall, he is the voice of Simba.
Yes. So this performance was in New York on Friday. He was at the Emmys on Monday, and I didn't look up his tour schedule, but I don't know if he had any more performances. So that may have been the last one.
That may be it. So if you wanted to see Childish Gambino live, you may have lost your chance there. No word on whether this means he's going to stop recording.
Right.
This does not say that he's not going to put out another album as Childish Gambino. This just suggests that his life got so busy that he doesn't think he's going to tour.
Right.
Which makes sense.
May do the Adele thing where he'll put stuff out, but he won't tour. He may do a performance here and there.
Yeah.
But nothing substantial.
But not like a world tour where you take a lot of time out of the schedule.
Right. He may do festivals where they'll pay him for 1 or 2 days, and that's it.
But maybe. All right. Another music news, Modest Mouse.
Speaking of tours.
Modest Mouse. They were on tour. But they canceled the show on their tour less than an hour before it was going to begin. This was at the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center. The employees of Duluth Entertainment Convention Center found out just minutes before the announcement and had to quickly refund tickets. The previous night, the band had to cancel a show in La Crosse, Wisconsin, citing unforeseen circumstances. Not LaCroix. Delicious. 2 hours before the concert. There's been no word on why they canceled these shows or if they were allowed to be rescheduled. Who knows what's going on with Modest Mouse.
Yeah, it's actually get canceled, especially canceled at all. Yeah. But minutes before, when people are already there. Apparently, the openers for Duluth as soon as the concert was over, got wind of this, went down to the local bar, like the closest one, and then did a free performance to anyone who wasn't able to see Modest Mouse.
Right. Weird. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out what's going on later.
Hopefully we get some news, and hopefully they don't cancel any more shows. But if you did happen to buy a ticket for Modest Mouse, be warned. They could cancel at any moment.
Yes. Beware. All right, let's move into our biggest story about music this week, which actually hit today.
Yeah, this was fun to watch and then watch people make fun of it.
It's that time of year, everybody. It's the time of year where we find out who's going to play the halftime show at the Super Bowl.
So we're 3 weeks into the season, and they've yet to announce it.
Well, here it is. We now know who our Super Bowl performer for the halftime show will be. Last year, of course, was Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
This year, it is an even more boring act. Get ready for Maroon 5.
Yep.
Maroon
all 5 of them.
Headed by, of course, Adam Levine, is headed to Atlanta, where Super Bowl 52 will take place on February 3rd, 2019.
Yes, in the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
The new Mercedes-Benz Theater.
Theater.
Theater may as well be.
Arena.
He will be joined by special guests.
We assumed, this is pre-planning stage, but we assume because Maroon 5 by themselves cannot hold a concert.
Yeah, we think.
Also, they have a bunch of hits with other people. Most notably, Christina Aguilera for Booze Like Jagger, and the most recent Chop Topper with BB Rexa, Cardi B. Which one of them?
I don't know.
Both of them?
All of them? But yeah, there are some connections he has. Christina Aguilera, Cardi B. He also has connections, of course, to his co-voice. People on NBC's The Voice, Blake Shelton, Kit Carson.
Do you think Blake Shelton shows
Alicia Keys, Miley Cyrus, etc.
Jennifer Hudson.
Etc. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Any of those could happen. Do I care though? Not really.
I care who's going to be performing. Not performing.
Playing,
playing, performing.
That's a different thing.
Yes, performing for their jobs.
Right.
Not halftime performance at this point, I guess.
So yeah, we'll have probably more to talk about once they iron out the details about it. But yeah, for all we know, this is kind of boring.
All right, if they choose one musical legend to come on stage with them, who do they choose?
It'll probably be Christina. Let's be real.
Okay, I'm talking.
That was a big song.
I'm talking like old act though. Like if they want to do a duet with anyone.
Oh, I don't know.
Who would they book? Who would you want to see them do?
Paul McCartney is promoting something. Bring him up.
Bring up Paul McCartney?
Yeah, they've done that before, though.
I'm trying to think, is there anyone, like, Atlanta famous besides Charles Gambino?
Funny. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know who you get from Atlanta.
But I think you'd go some hometown, like they did with the Prince in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Nice tribute there. I think you go someone big, Atlanta, hip-hop, probably, producer.
I don't know.
You can't think of anyone.
Ludacris. I got nothing. Sorry.
All right.
All right, let's move on. That does it for music news, so that means it's time for thoughts.
Okay, thoughts.
You listen to a couple of records.
Yes, I listened to some of that Good Charlotte.
Yeah, so Good Charlotte, name that I hadn't heard in a while, put out some new music. And it sounds weird.
You were confused by it.
I was very confused by it.
So this is their new album, Generation RX. Or
Yeah.
Medicine, I guess that's RX Medicine,
Yeah,
or whatever.
Prescription? I don't know.
Generation
Prescription.
Yeah.
Let's call it that. But yeah, how would you describe their choice of sound here?
Trying to be new wave.
Or not new wave.
Not new wave, but
New metal?
New metal.
Yeah.
The new sound that's coming out. They're trying to keep up with the times.
It definitely sounds like they're trying to keep up with the times. I believe what you said about the 30 Seconds to Mars album this year, earlier this year. Remember what you said about that? Where like they were trying to sound like everybody else on the radio.
Well, they were trying to sound like Imagine Dragons, and they succeeded.
Like that.
Well, you said they sounded like
30 Seconds
to Mars.
It seems like there's just a confluence in rock right now where everybody just wants to sound like everybody else.
Well, it's everyone knows what's getting the playtime, so we're gonna try and do that because that's how you get album sales. That's how you get people to go to your concert. You get radio plays.
So, what did you think about this?
Aside from maybe one song, it was nothing to write home about, nothing to be proud of. I want to say, which is weird because when you make an album, you don't set out to make a bad album.
No one does.
No one does. But you just come out with it that for the first 3 songs you could mix them together and it would sound like it's all one song.
Yep.
And that's not a good thing to happen when you're talking about trying to be different. You're trying to stand out amongst the crowd, especially with an album. It's nothing. Like I said, it's nothing too out there. Mm-hmm. It's hard to even call it a Good Charlotte album, maybe because it doesn't sound like them.
Or at least, I guess...
It's not what you're expecting with them.
Well, here's a question. So I kind of coming from just knowing Good Charlotte...
From high school?
Early stuff. Was this a band that you followed? Like, have you known anything that they've done since their original stuff? And is this a logical progression, or is this completely like a left turn?
I could not answer that.
So you haven't been. Okay.
I haven't.
So maybe
I put this on because I was looking for a second album to listen to.
Yeah.
And this happened to be the one thing that I wanted to listen to. I didn't want to listen to the Paul McCartney thing. Sorry, Paul McCartney.
That's fine. I didn't listen to it either. We're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe to a certain extent it would help to have somebody who would follow their career trajectory.
Yeah.
They could tell us, is this kind of what they've been doing for a while? Like, I don't know.
Well, I think that discography is something that's going to be needed in order to understand this.
Maybe.
Because if you look at the other acts that have put out albums from Imagine Dragons, their first album to now, from even Linkin Park, from the first album to now, from 30 Seconds to Mars, from their first album to now, it's a complete different change in tone for those bands, and so I would assume it's be the same thing for Good Charlotte. It just, nothing clicked for me. I'm sure that in terms of discography, it's a good progression, but coming in fresh and trying to get new people, it's not something that's going to grasp your attention.
Yeah.
And that's the pitfall of this.
Weird.
I think that's probably where it's going to lay, too. Something that came out this year, where you'd be surprised, oh yeah, they came out with an album, and then not remember that they came out with an album.
Sounds about right.
It's not like when Blink-182 came out with California, and it was like such a big thing that they actually came out with a couple hits away from it.
Yeah.
This is something that's just going to be slid off, written off.
Like, this is out.
This is it. This is it.
You
This is
care
out.
about it if you do, but...
Yep. It's flavor of the day, not flavor of the month.
All right, but tell me about the flavor of the other album that you listened to. Which
Oh.
of course, is Carrie Underwood's
Yes.
Cry Pretty.
Yes, Carrie Underwood, my flavor of the month.
Flavor of every other month is watching right now. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
Just, you know. All right, so what's up with Carrie Underwood's new record?
Carrie Underwood and Cry Pretty starts off with Cry Pretty, and it is loud and big, and
It's a Carrie Underwood record.
Carrie Underwood record.
Let's not oversell it.
Yes. So Carrie, from my own just playing of Carrie Underwood for the past years, she stands in two different categories for when she creates a song.
Yeah.
Either she's going to be loud and super Carrie Underwood about it, where she's going with big long runs and really high voices,
Yeah.
or it's going to be one of those heartfelt songs.
Right.
And this is a great blend of both.
She does have certain, it seems like her two modes, are
Yes.
the country diva mode
Yep.
and country crooner mode.
Yep.
She has both. One, she's keying your car and popping your tires, and the other one, she's telling you how great it's going to be when you have a kid together and they're going to play football.
Yep. And this is a great combination of both of those.
Okay, good to know.
The album starts off high and goes super high for the first 3 or 4 songs, and then it gets super into country for everyone that's going to stick with the album. And then it ends on a bonus track.
Yes.
Champions with Ludacris.
Right, that thing.
Yes.
Which we already had heard. That was a single.
Yes.
But I want to talk about, there is one song that is kind of an odd one out in this thing. There's one
the
song that straight up
drinking
sounds
one?
like it was written for frickin' Ed Sheeran.
Oh, yes, that's at the end.
Super weird.
The Kingdom one.
Yeah, she goes full... No, it's not even that one. It's the one where I was like, this just sounds like a pop song.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yes.
Or it just sounds like it could have been written for anyone. And somehow it ended up on a Carrie Underwood album. Like, it's super out of place compared to everything else. It's like some producer was like, I don't know, this might be a crossover hit here. So I don't know, it just seemed weird. I wish I could remember what it was, but yeah.
I think I can pull it up for you real quick.
Bizarre.
But yeah, I don't know, that song is definitely... I mean, I liked most of the songs on this album. They're definitely good. There's definitely a tone that she's definitely going for and hits.
Yeah.
Not only in her own tone, but in most of what she sings about. I'm going to find it up here real quick. But yeah, it starts off big. Cry Pretty is definitely going to be a hit if it's not already. Where the hell is that thing? New releases.
I feel like she's been promoting that single and this album since like January.
Yeah, I mean, we've been covering these songs for a while now.
Yeah.
Backsliding. That's what it was.
Yeah, maybe it was that one. But yeah,
Yeah,
it was just so
Backsliding and then Drinking Alone are the two kind of odd ones out of all this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's otherwise though it sounds like a Carrie Underwood record.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting into here.
Oh yeah, you know what you're getting to. Carrie knows who she's playing to. She knows her audience. She knows what you expect out of a Carrie Underwood song. If you watch Monday Night Football and like the new song that she put out, expect kind of that vibe going into this album.
Yeah.
The game on song for Sunday Night Football.
Game on.
It's big, it's loud, and it's in your face, but it's also very country.
Yeah. All right. Let's then move on. Then, if we're done with your thoughts, did you listen to anything else?
Not album wise, a couple of singles out, but we're gonna skip those.
Okay. I listened to something real quick. I won't belabor it because we need to move on.
No doubt. Who'd you listen to?
I listened to the new No Name. No Name is a female rapper. I would say rapper, but she's more kind of a spoken word artist. Her new record, Room 25, is out this week. It's very, very, very good. Kind of jazzy, jazz-influenced hip-hop with spoken word poetry. It's very, very, very good. So check that out if that sounds good to you.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Speaking of those, real briefly, Lana Del Rey has a new single out. She's
Yeah,
a new album.
there's a freaking song that's 10 minutes long.
It is.
That she put out. I meant to listen to that today, but I didn't.
I got 30 minutes into it, then realized it was 10 minutes, and then changed it. And then Eric Church put out a new song, part of his new album.
Okay.
We're going to get into that once the whole album comes out.
So we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah.
Or whenever.
Whenever.
All right, let's move on then. Let's stop talking about music. Let's talk about video games.
Okay, it's video game time. We got new releases.
New releases. We have Legendary Fishing on PlayStation 4 and Switch. Labyrinth of Refrain, Coven of Dusk for PlayStation 4 and Switch. Fishing Sim World, big week for fish.
Double fishing.
Yeah, for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The Gardens Between, maybe there's pools in there where you can fish, with PlayStation 4 and Switch. Those are your new releases, and our big one of two big stories this week in video games was with Nintendo. Last week we talked about how their big Nintendo Direct had been delayed due to
earthquake,
due weather issues, natural occurrences in Japan. Well, that event finally happened. Nintendo made some pretty crazy announcements. First up in the docket, they announced a third Luigi's Mansion game that will be released for Switch.
Yeah.
They announced
money.
Following up on my prediction last week, I was right, except for platform. I guessed platform incorrectly.
Right.
But there will indeed be a remaster of the first Katamari Damacy game called Katamari Damacy Reroll, except it will be on Switch and PC.
Yes. We announced that they got the domain name for this 2 weeks ago before what was supposed to be the original launch,
right,
or the Nintendo Direct.
Yes.
But yeah, Katamari, you played that donut count and got you back to Katamari.
Yes, it really did.
Yes.
So I'm excited to pick this up when it comes out because I love Katamari. No, that's the second game.
Yes. Reroll.
Yeah, no, that was a joke because the second Katamari game was called We Love
We
Katamari.
Love Katamari.
That was the joke. Yeah. Anyway,
look at that go over my head.
Yep.
Wow.
All right. Also announced a new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is going to be a re-release of the new Super Mario Bros. U game for Wii U on the Switch. Also, Square Enix is bringing over some Final Fantasy games to Switch, which is notable because this means that this will be the first time that Final Fantasies 7, 9, 10, and 12.
12, yeah, not 13.
7, 9, 10, and 12 will be released for a Nintendo home console. So, oddly missing here is 8.
8.
No one knows why 8 is not included in this, but time will tell. But yes, if you've always wanted, if you've been a Nintendo stalwart and never played those Final Fantasies, here's your opportunity. Also announced was a new character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I forgot what the U was for a second. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will have Isabelle from Animal Crossing, which of course was the lead up to the big announcement at the Direct. There will be a new Animal Crossing game sometime in 2019 for the Switch.
Yay!
Everybody already knew that was that was happening.
Yeah, everyone knew that was happening.
Another brief news from the Direct. There was an update released for Mario Tennis Aces. Mm-hmm. You can now play as Birdo, among other characters that were announced for this.
Yes. And one of the big things they talked about was their online.
Yes, confirmed. So 2 days ago now, the 18th of September, or one day, I guess, yesterday.
That day.
Was day one for the Nintendo Internet solution. We already covered it here. If you have a Switch and you want to play it online, from now on, you need to pay a price for it. It's $20 for a year. There is a family plan for $35 that you can split 5 ways, or up to 7 ways, I think. There's also a month-by-month if you want to do it that way. Regardless, you will need to pay for access to online play for games such as Mario Tennis Aces or Splatoon 2, as well as future releases that will involve online modes. You also, as a member of this program, will get access to 20 or 15, I forget the number, classic NES games. I did not get a chance to try it out and see what games that's included, but maybe I will before next week, and I'll give you guys some direct feedback for that. Those games will include new online functionality as well as new multiplayer functionality. But don't get too excited. All that means is that Player 2 can be a cursor on your screen showing you stuff, I guess, if you want to show stuff. The example that I was given on a podcast today was somebody's playing Super Mario Brothers and the other person can be like, hey, look at that Goomba, don't get hit.
Okay.
But that's it.
So that's it.
So that's what was big on the Nintendo Direct. No word about the Yoshi game. No word about Metroid Prime. And yeah, some weird stuff that wasn't talked about. But yeah, other than that, a pretty solid showing.
Yeah, it was a good showing.
Oh, and there's going to be NES controllers that work like Joy-Cons. They'll snap to
Oh,
Switch.
yes, that's the other thing.
But you can only buy them if you're a member of this internet program.
Right. Other than that, I don't think anything else big Nintendo-wise.
So yeah, good news.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Another Japanese video game company, Capcom, is making news, but not of the great variety.
Oops. No.
They're shutting down their Vancouver studio. The Vancouver studio over at Capcom was responsible mostly for the Dead Rising series from 2 onward. They developed Dead Rising 2, 3, and 4. But now all their development projects that were in process are now canceled. And they will now, as a company, Capcom will concentrate development of major titles to just Japan.
Yes. Capcom Vancouver was also in charge of the mobile game Puzzles and Dragons, or Dragon Puzzle.
Oh, okay.
That was their big hit that they've been slowly accruing money from.
Got it. Studio already was hit with layoffs back in February, and now roughly 158 people will lose their jobs due to this shutdown. The skeleton crew will remain to finalize closure operations and logistics until January 2019. So as usual, we hope everybody who lost their jobs finds their feet very quickly in this volatile industry. But check out EA Vancouver. They have a studio out there, so hopefully a lot of people will make the lateral move over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of studios in Vancouver. It's kind of like the second game hub.
But it's getting expensive to live there.
Oh, it is.
I understand. It's kind of Canadian.
It's
kind of Canada's version of the Bay Area.
It's Canada's LA.
Yeah. Or I would say San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's tech. It's a big tech industry.
Yeah, but also a lot of things shoot there, too.
That's true.
That's what I call it.
But everybody's moving down to Georgia now.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, YouTube.
Not
YouTube, but YouTube will be getting rid of its dedicated gaming site, YouTube Gaming, and moving within the main YouTube site. The platform, of course, was a rival of Twitch.tv, the most popular gaming streaming platform, and was launched back in 2015, but just could never get the numbers that Twitch had. Primarily because people still went to YouTube to watch other gaming videos.
Right. They watched Let's Plays instead of live streaming.
Also, I think it was also YouTube's fault in a way because it's always really hard to find live things on your channels that you're looking for. Especially channels that have a combination of pre-taped videos and live content.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a pain to find if they're streaming live. If I was YouTube, I would put that to the top. It's 2018.
Live stuff?
Everybody is live.
Well, they actually have it on their side, on the sidebar, where they have a live tab, so you can put stuff that's going live.
Hopefully they're making those changes. But that was probably among the reasons why people were not convinced.
Also, when you say YouTube gaming, they're like, well, just do Twitch.
Yeah, just do Twitch,
Because Twitch basically has kind of cornered that market now.
So yes, they're moving the entirety of YouTube gaming over to the existing site and will now promote game-specific content and rising streamers within YouTube itself. They plan to retire the site, YouTube Gaming, by March 2019.
Yeah, there's nothing really substantial. Well, there was a couple substantial that they took from YouTube Gaming. Mainly the black/midnight mode, where YouTube went black instead of white for screen protection, saving stuff. And general just promotion of live stuff. General promotion of live stuff, and allow people to subscribe and donate straight to YouTubers. So, but yeah, a lot of that could also be done via Twitch, which is why none of it. I mean, there's a lot more aspects to it, but there's nothing too memorable to say about YouTube gaming, and it makes sense that it's still under YouTube, the gaming aspect. It just never took off.
They're just doing what they need to survive at this point. I think this is probably smarter.
Yeah.
Just
consolidate.
Stop confusing your people. Just figure out what brand you want everything to be under. Just call everything YouTube.
Well, because this was part of YouTube's thing of doing YouTube, and at the same time they launched YouTube Gaming, and YouTube Red, and YouTube
Which is
Live,
now YouTube Premium.
And so they just got rid of all that and just put it under YouTube Premium, one banner.
Smart. Consolidate. It's better for your brand.
Yep.
All right. And lastly, in video games, we have the news that hit this morning, which is exciting. Sony will be following suit after Nintendo by making a classic version of one of their consoles, just like Nintendo did.
It's so mini and
yes,
tiny.
a classic PlayStation is on the way from Sony.
Yes. It has been 25 years since the release of PlayStation.
Can you believe that?
Yes.
Nearly. Actually, we're just south of 25.
In December.
In
December.
December of 2019. Not of this year.
The
PlayStation debuted in Japan in 94. In December 94. So we would not be eligible for 25 years until technically next holiday.
That
being said, they're getting an early celebration, as this will be probably by the end of this year. They have not actually given a date, but all signs point to yes. But yes, we will get a PlayStation Classic console. It will be mini-sized, just like the Nintendo systems were. And it will also come preloaded with 20 games. Those 20 games include, so far, Final Fantasy VII, Jumping Flash, Ridge Racer Type 4, Tekken 3, and Wild Arms. The rest of the 20 have yet to be announced, but we have some thoughts about which ones there probably are.
Yeah, so they're not going to be major releases like either Crash or Spyro.
It's possible.
I'd
say it's still possible.
But those just got re-releases.
Right. Spyro will be harder because that will be a product on shelves this Christmas.
Right.
Whereas Crash, they could probably do Crash 1.
Maybe.
I can see that.
So we're talking about...
do Crash Team Racing.
I can see Crash Team Racing with 2 controllers.
Yeah, maybe.
But
yeah, it will ship with
it'll be their Mario Kart, to say.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you can also get some Twisted Metal, possibly.
Twisted Metal will likely be one of them, I think. I think you're right. But yeah, as for the rest, it's kind of anyone's game here to guess what they will pick for the rest of the 20.
I'm trying to think of like popular games, like maybe Medieval, but I think they're already doing a remaster of that.
Remaster of that too. It's just I don't know what they're gonna do, but
yeah,
we'll find out.
It's hard to determine what it is going to be, because if it's not getting a remaster, then it probably wasn't that memorable to begin with.
No, I don't know about that.
I know.
But yeah, so if you're curious about the details for this thing, like I said, we do not know a release date, but we do know that it will be the system. It will have 2 controllers. I want to note that they are original PlayStation controllers and not analog controllers or DualShocks. This means, presumably, they will not have vibration, and they will not have analog control, which means that games based around the analog control, such as Ape Escape, will not be compatible. There were later PlayStation games that I think that were compatible with both versions of the controller. I think Metal Gear Solid being one of them, which is probably another likely candidate for this thing. That will also kind of put a limit on games. That essentially gives them a year of brick wall, basically, to stop at, unfortunately, where things just went analog. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Right, because I remember my first PlayStation had analog, and when I saw one without them, I was like, that looks weird. What's this?
But yeah, it will be released with an HDMI cable and USB cable, but the box notes that it will not have the actual AC adapter.
Right.
So this means that you'll have to have like one of your cell phone chargers or some sort of AC adapter with USB in order to plug this thing into a wall. Which kind of sucks. Or you have to buy one. But I feel like at this point maybe most people do, or maybe they're banking on most people having those. HDMI cable, of course, to connect to the television.
I think I'll come with a power cable.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is the box that they released art of says it won't. That's confirmed.
Oh, okay.
It has the USB cable, but nothing to plug the USB into.
Right.
So you have to have your own. I know.
It's not gonna be that hard to find one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I feel like they think they can get away with that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it will be, and lastly, of course, the price. It will be $99.99. So
$100.
Smackers, which is much more than the Nintendo ones were.
Right. Nintendo came out at 60. Or 69, 70. It was 70 and then 80.
80 for the Super NES. So yeah,
so
$100, 100 bones.
I don't know if I would do that though. $100.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's got to be something worthwhile.
I'm just waiting for Nintendo to re-release the Super NES one. That's the only one I want.
You know what should be on there? Chrono Trigger.
That was not originally a PlayStation game.
Doesn't matter.
That was a Super NES game.
Don't matter.
Yeah, I think it would in this case because being originally a Super NES game, Nintendo has a piece of that pie.
Yeah.
There was a re-release for the PlayStation that I think was bundled with some other.
That's probably what I'm
Enix
thinking
title,
of.
or Square title at the time. No, Chrono Trigger's weird because it was a Square Enix crossover game before Square and Enix were the same game or same company.
Right.
So it makes it weird. But yeah, I don't know if that would be one of them.
I'm trying to think of because I was thinking Earthbound, but that's Nintendo.
That's also Nintendo.
I started thinking of a big game. That would be a big get. That's not Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, they already got that one. It's the one you want. But yeah. All right. Well, that's it for video game news. I'm sure when we find out more about that, we will follow up with details. But yeah, as for that, that means that we are done with video games and we are done with Media Boat Podcast.
Just a quick wrap up. I did end up beating Spider-Man.
Yes.
Marvel, Insomniac's Marvel Spider-Man.
Yes, we kind of talked that game to death, but yes, you finished it.
Yeah, I finished the story. I still like it. I have some words about it that I probably will save for end of the year, because this thing is definitely going to be top 5 end of the year Media Boat Podcast gaming, which is coming up soon. We're a couple months out from that, as we come to wrap up 2018.
Yep.
But overall, Spider-Man is a great game. I would think that if they did not get that swinging mechanic right, that game would have failed.
Yes, that swinging mechanic, not that swinging mechanic.
No, not that swinging mechanic. But yeah, it's super fun to just swing around New York City. I platinumed that game. I 100%ed all the trophies.
Yeah.
I 100%ed everything in the city. I did not do all the hidden photos, but apparently you'll need to do all that. But I'm trying to just swing around New York and just try and find them because it's fun.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I think one thing we didn't talk up enough was the photo mode.
Yeah.
Because it's great. I love the photo mode in here. I love the costumes in it. It's an overall great game. Definitely grab it if you have a PlayStation. It's one of those must-owns.
Oh, yeah.
I just think that in terms of story, in terms of themes that it's going for, it could have been a lot tighter of a story.
Sure.
That being said, it's definitely top-notch, like, near perfect game. Especially for a Spider-Man, especially for any comic book, and just video games in general. Insomniac hit this one out of the park. Well done. I look forward. Now I'm kind of regretting not getting the extra stuff, because I kind of want to jump back in this thing.
Yeah.
Immediately. But they did announce that
there will be a New Game Plus.
There will be New Game Plus. It will come later this year.
Yeah.
They are currently working on it, so look for New Game Plus probably December, holiday season.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get back into that, but every time I do finally finish what I've been doing after work, it's 9 o'clock. And
well, yeah, but you
start playing.
Well, yeah, I don't know how you get on Twitter for 5 hours.
I don't do just Twitter for 5 hours. More like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, cool. So Spider-Man's still good. Pick it up.
Yep, Spider-Man's still good.
That will do it for video games, and that will do it for the Media Boat Podcast.
All right, so let's wrap it up and let's plug away.
Let's plug away. So, if you want to see more of us, well, good news, we're live every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. If you want to catch us live, we're on YouTube. Just search Media Boat Podcast. You'll find our channel. Subscribe, and you'll get us notifications when we're live every week. You can also listen to the audio version of the podcast on wherever podcasts are found. This includes Apple Podcasts and any RSS feed-driven podcast catcher you can imagine. Just type in Media Boat Podcast and you'll probably find us. You can also find us on our website where our writing is. MediaBoatPodcast.com is the destination there. You can see archived reviews, our thoughts about certain things that came out last year, earlier this year. You can see old news stories and maybe some future stuff. I don't know. We'll see. You can also find us on social media. On Twitter, we're at MediaBoatCast. On Facebook, we have a page under Media Boat Podcast. Search us on the Facebook search and you'll find us. And we are on Twitch.tv when we stream video games. When he's playing Spider-Man, he'll be on Twitch.tv with that. You can also see archived footage of him playing Spider-Man on there, I believe, as well. You can also find us on Patreon, where you can help us with money. That'd be pretty cool. You can even donate as little as $1 a month to help us make this content even better than it is. And everybody who gets onto the Patreon, someday we will make special content just for you. We don't even know what that is yet, because you haven't told us what you want. So pay us, tell us what you want to hear, and we'll make it for you. All right, that does it, and that is it for the Media Boat Podcast.
Just real briefly, little addendum here. The Captain Marvel trailer dropped. We didn't talk about it because we assumed you watched it because it's Marvel.
It's what you think that movie is going to be. And Brie Larson punches an old lady.
Yeah, she does. So you'll slap some. She slaps the old lady.
Slaps the old lady.
But yeah, it looks great. Excited for that. We didn't really talk about too much of it because either you saw it and you watched it or you didn't and you didn't care. Either way, Marvel's next film is out, and I think everyone's trailer's out, and I think everyone's kind of waiting for Infinity War stuff more than the trailer. But yeah, that's out. It's great. And we're great, and you're great for listening to us. So thank you, and we'll be back next week.
We will. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, no
this freaking movie.
No
so
comments. No. Name that film. Speaking of Spider-Man.
Oh my god.
Speaking of Spider-Man.
Everything about this is so ridiculous.
All right.
I haven't seen this since I saw it in the theater.
All right, that's Spider-Man 3. Bye-bye. Bye.